everyone, it's Matt Bloomfield at Wycombe Wanderers and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
A very good evening, or if you're listening on the podcast, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is. Hello. It is Luke here with you for the next 50 minutes. Hope you are having a good week. No Colin this week. He will be back this time next week, though, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I said that last week. I'm sure he will be this week. How many times can I say week in a sentence? Quite a lot, it turns out. Coming up on this evening, this afternoon, or this morning's show, we will hear from the man you just heard from, Matt Bloomfield, who signed an extension to his contract this week to stay at the club for longer, which is a very, very good thing. We'll also hear from Wycombe Wanderers ex-player and former defender, Geoff Cooper, on his time at the club. We'll hear from Wycombe Wanderers women's player, Sarah Davern. We'll also hear from Jasper Pattenden from Tuesday night's game as well. First, though, let's talk to Phil. Evening, Phil. Always great to chat to you. Let's start with Saturday's game at Oxford, which is always a good game.
Always fun at Oxford United, and it didn't disappoint this time round either. It's a shame that the referee has got so much of the attention, but from an Oxford point of view, they were clearly aggrieved, I think, by some of the decisions. Removing the penalty out of it, I think the one where the ball was slipped through to Harris and the referee gave a free kick instead of the advantage. If that had been the other way round, I would have been livid as a Wycombe fan, so I can understand the frustration. But listen, I think, attacking referees or complaining about referees is a futile exercise. It happens. I'd rather inconsistencies like that than having VAR and seeing the impact that that's having at the top level of the game, certainly in this country. And another sobering thought, referees make maybe 2,000, 2,500 decisions per game. And the actual amount of mistakes they make is a very, very small percentage. If they made the same amount of mistakes as say, an outfield player would do during a game, then we'd be in real problems. So I think it's probably time to give them a break. But equally, it was a shame that the referee got so much of the airtime from what was a pretty absorbing game. And yes, he gave penalties, but you've still got to score them. I thought Luke Lee, he put them away fantastically. It's not easy to take two in a game. Harry Kane showed that in the World Cup. So, from a Wycombe point of view, it was just disappointing at the end, obviously, to concede in injury time away from home. Otherwise, I think it would have been a famous little dance back down the M40.
And performance-wise, where Oxford are at the minute, and where Wycombe are, you would think, Oxford have got the upper hand here. But performance-wise, fairly level. Yeah,
and that goes across the last few games. We've played some really good teams and possibly not got the results that we deserved, or certainly the amount of points that we deserved. But, that's all about the learning curve of football. To talk about the former manager, Gareth Ainsworth, as time went on in his managerial career and when he certainly worked with players probably at a later stage in their career, it was about that sort of winning habit, that winning mentality. We've got some young players here who are fantastically technical and very exciting, but they're also learning this side of the game. And they're learning it very, very fast. So I think we can see this really come to fruition very soon for Wycombe Wanderers. It was just a shame that we couldn't get what I would have called a statement win against a team in the top six, which was at Oxford. It was just a shame we couldn't hang on for that.
Let's move then to Tuesday night. I was there with you and Jack in the Bill Turnbull gantry. The Scottish treats were nice, but the game was good as well.
Yeah, for a 0-0, I think there was lots going on. I think Cambridge United have to get full credit for their defensive display. I thought Ryan Bennett and Morrison at the heart of the defence were superb. I think Danny Andrew at left back. That's three of the back four there. That's three exceptionally experienced defenders at this level, and it really showed. I thought their defensive shape was really, really strong. But having said that, it's in Wycombe's job to break that down, certainly at home. And they were unable to do so. We had a couple of chances, but then equally Cambridge's game plan of defending and being solid and maybe nicking a goal, they were very unlucky. They hit the bar and the post with a header.
Just mentioning VAR, that would have been very interesting if we had VAR in this league.
I think it definitely bounced out, but it was incredibly close. And then the save that Max had to make near the end. So nearly the perfect smash and grab performance by Cambridge, and obviously we've seen Wycombe do that down the years. It's happened to us a few times too, but then Wycombe had their chances as well. A clean sheet is a real positive to take from it because we've shipped quite a few goals recently, but we've also scored quite a few as well. So I think bearing in mind the personnel issues on the night, the change of shape enforced by that through suspension and injury, I think a clean sheet is something that we can really take into the FA Cup game. And then also, hopefully, with players returning back to fitness, Jolo back from suspension, that things are looking good.
Let's talk about Tuesday night's ball that slowed time down, which was nearly an own goal for Cambridge. For people that weren't watching it, give your perspective from the gantry.
Well, we had, as most things up at the gantry, you get a fantastic view of absolutely everything, but a ball over the top, and then you're thinking, right, this is a foot race between the Wycombe player and the defender, and Liam Bennett, I think under pressure, got his foot on it and volleyed it so high up in the air. Fortunately, I think from his point of view, it was the height that rescued him, because he managed to lob his keeper and then the ball bounced in the 6-yard area, but then bounced over the bar. I think if you asked him to do that again, to try and do it again, he wouldn't be able to do it. The keeper was desperate to get something on the ball. I think if he had done it, probably would have gone in. But yeah, a real let-off for Cambridge and what would have been a famous own goal.
Matt Bloomfield also extending his time at the club with his new extended contract as well. What was he like after Tuesday? And obviously great news for him as well.
Yeah, he was, I think, again, there's that element of frustration to draw 0-0 at home. But I think also he looks for the positives as well. And I think the clean sheet was one of those too. But yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, to see. I mean, obviously I get to speak to Matt after every game, after every sort of result, after every occurrence that's happened, and it's really great to watch him grow as a manager and coach, and we certainly are under Matt Bloomfield as a club as well growing. So the extension of his contract, I think, is a really canny bit of business by Rob Couhig, because this week they've said on Halloween a lot of managers have lost their job around the EFL. It is a famously fickle business. Of course, it's results based, but I think in terms of what Matt's doing and the work that he's done and the progress the club have made, Rob can certainly see it from all levels of the club at the training ground, and we're really starting to see it now on the pitch, and hopefully the results will really start to come as well in line with those improvements in performances. I think it's a really clever bit of business and gives that bit of security for Matt and his staff. And also, the players will see that as well and think, yeah, this is the place to be.
Looking ahead to Saturday then, for FA Cup, magic, as you described it on pre-match drills. Everyone loves the FA Cup, but Wycombe haven't got out of the first round since 2017?
Yeah, Wycombe haven't loved the FA Cup for quite some time. We got into the third round when we were in the Championship. We didn't have to have the earlier rounds, and we won against Preston and got into the fourth round. But to win a first round game and hopefully to get, what I would really love is just to win on Saturday and get a non-league game at home or away. The magic works both ways. We want the magic of a big club coming to Adams Park, or an away game, or a cup upset. But equally, I also love that heritage of playing the non-league teams who will relish a pop at League One Wycombe Wanderers. That's what I'd love. It is frustrating when you draw another League One or League Two team that you've played many, many times. It's a tough away day. I think the conditions for travel are always going to be tricky at this time of year. So if you are going, then full credit to you. If not, Wycombe Sound 106.6 FM. If you're in Wycombe, is a place to hear it, and on Wanderers TV. But yeah, it is a magic competition, and I really, really think we're overdue a run.
Yeah, and both of us are very lucky to be around the players. They're up for it.
Yeah, they are. Players really want to do well in this competition. They know the attention it brings, and I think as a town, it'd be really good to get behind a cup run. We all remember the famous cup runs we've had, and it really makes a difference. And it needn't distract from the league. It can really augment a season and really add to everything. I think we got the best squad we've had in terms of size and years. I know we've got injury problems at the moment, but we've got a squad that can carry it. I'd love us to do us well in this competition. I really, really would, and I'm sure the gaffer does as well.
We'll say journey to Bradford.
Well, yeah, I've not been up there for a few years actually, but it's a good one for me. It's the first ever away game I covered as a journalist, so I have fond memories of Valley Parade. So it'd be nice to go back there. I've been back a few times since, but always like to go there. And it's a weird stadium, but it's kind of like half a Premier League stadium, half a sort of lower league stadium, and the press box is in the Premier League side of it, so it's a really nice view, although it'd probably be freezing cold.
Yeah, take a coat.
Always.
If you're going to Bradford, please take a coat, drive safely, and make sure you've got some good shoes on. Thank you to Phil, as always. Let's jump back to Tuesday night's draw with Cambridge. Phil spoke to Jasper after the game, reflecting on his 10th start in the league.
Jasper in the back four tonight and a clean sheet. So that's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you always want to keep clean sheets, and that's a positive we can take from tonight's game. Played a different shape tonight, obviously. Limited with the amount of centre-halves we've got in the side, with Loe's suspension, the most recent thing, and we played a slightly different shape with the 4, which we haven't done so far this season. So obviously it was a quick turnaround, but I thought the boys adapted well, and obviously it's always nice to come away with a clean sheet.
The frustration's coming at the other end because it was a well-drilled Cambridge defence as well, a night full of defences, but at home I think Wycombe fans would have expected to get that goal possibly in the second half. Yeah,
of course. We always back ourselves, especially here, to go and score at least one goal. And when you're knocking on the door like that and you feel like you're defensively sound, we felt like that goal was just coming. Obviously, it didn't in the end, and we had a fair few half chances, some decent chances. But then again, they had one or two up the other end. But yeah, it felt like the goal was coming. But unfortunately, tonight I just didn't get it.
And from a personal point of view, it's been a really good run in the team, isn't it? You've had to be very, very patient, but that patience has been rewarded.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, it has been quite a long time, and I've been knocking on the door, but the gaffer's been great with me, and he's been open and honest, and ever since he's come to the club, and especially at the start of this season, it's taken its time, but I've just carried on working hard. I've carried on doing my bit, and at the end of the day, all I want to do is try and help this team. I absolutely love it here. And to be able to be rewarded and playing, getting a nice run of games and feeling a good rhythm is great, and I'm extremely grateful to have that opportunity.
What have you felt you've learnt from this run in the team? Because obviously match days you can't replicate.
No, of course. They're like, as a footballer, playing games 90 minutes week in, week out is what ultimately you get all your learnings from. So yeah, I've learnt sort of from game to game the different opposition, the different shapes we'll come up against, the style of play, and also sort of when I'm playing with different players in our team, the different players. Sort of, I've had sort of Chris Farino, Kesey, Joe Lowe. So it's just the adaptations from game to game that you get at this level, and the quality that there are in a lot of teams in this league. And I've enjoyed the challenge. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great, and I'm just hoping I can continue and delivering for the team. And yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot.
You've had experience of men's football at Worthing. How vital has that been to stepping up into the competitive League One action? Yeah,
anybody that sort of asks me about sort of making the step up and about what they should do at 16, 17, I probably sound like a broken record, but I say go and play men's football, men's games. It's so invaluable. Just getting men's games under your belt as early as possible, whether that's the Isthmian Premier League or the County Division 7. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Just being in around a male changing room, the environment of a club, of a senior team, and playing against men. I'm extremely grateful to have racked up so many games under my belt at Worthing. It's put me in good stead coming here to hit the ground running coming into the team. Yeah, back at Wycombe, it's a joy to see you getting up and down the line. There could be a little goal on the way soon. You're always there or thereabouts at the back post. Yeah, I probably should have had one or two by now. There's a couple of clips I've watched, and I've had a couple of chances which I probably should have done better with, if I'm honest. But yeah, that's what I want to do. It's obviously in my wing-back role, I'm sort of in both boxes, so I want to help the team keep clean sheets, but then again at the other end I want to help put a number on the board, and I'm sort of working hard to do that, and I'm looking forward to that first goal. Well, you've been a popular figure around the club for some time. How is it now to build that relationship with the fans, but from on the pitch? Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, I was very familiar with the fans. I did a lot of work off the pitch and tried to be as close to them as possible. But now to sort of show them and restore their faith in me out there on a Saturday and a Tuesday is great, and it's extremely rewarding for them to be able to see that, and I feel like that relationship's building, and that's the side of football I absolutely love. These people who pay their money to come and watch us play, it's what makes football so magic, and that's why we call it the beautiful game. So I'm extremely grateful the way they've been with me, and hopefully I can keep repaying them and entertaining them. Well, let's use the word magic. FA Cup this weekend. What does that competition mean to you? It's everything. I think coming from non-league as well, the FA Cup is the big one. Everyone wants that first round draw against a big football league club, and obviously now this season for me and us, it's a bit of a different situation. We're being that football league club, but no, we want to go and do as best we can in this. We know that a couple of wins and you can get a massive tie, and it's great for the club and the fans, and that's what we want to deliver. But at the end of the day, we want to win football games. We're not going for a jolly day out or trying to get a big team and just enjoy ourselves against a Premier League club. We want to go as far as we can, and with the squad we've got and the way this team is and the way we're playing is we feel like we can do that. So yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Jasper, we'll see you in Bradford. See you in Bradford.
online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound, Tuesday evenings from 7.
Hello, Phil here from Wycombe Wanderers, host of Ringing the Blues, which you can listen to right here on Wycombe Sound every Tuesday from 7 till 8. We'll have all the action from the game at the weekend, plus a whole host of players and guests associated with the club, plus our weekly feature Till Death Us Do Part, where Wycombe fans remember their favourite memories. Only on Wycombe Sound, 7 till 8.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Welcome back to the second part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show for this week. Time for our ex-player chat of the week, with thanks as always to JDT and the Ex-Players Association. This week, Colin is talking to former defender Geoff Cooper, talking about his time at the club and reflecting on 30 years since the club won promotion to the Football League.
When you look at the photographs and you walk past the mirror now, you think that wasn't me. But no, it's gone so quick. It's really gone quick. And you think 30 years ago, that's scary.
So what was your kind of earliest memory of your time at the club? Because obviously initially you came in on loan.
Yeah, I came in on loan because I think I was coming back from injury from Barnet, and they said to me to get some games in, do you want to go on loan? And yeah, well, I jumped at it, to be honest. I just wanted to get some good games with a good quality side, and it worked out really well.
Because I guess this was quite sort of late on in your career, really.
Yeah, well, I signed for Brighton when I was like 26, 27, and that was a late, and I was there for almost 2 years, and I can honestly say probably hated every minute of it. But then I sort of found, I really enjoyed. I went to Barnet and I really enjoyed it, and we won the conference with Barnet, and got them into the league, and had a few good seasons there. Loved it. I think I played 160 games for them in the end, I think.
So what were your first impressions of when you were at Wycombe?
When I was at Bognor Regis, we always played against Wycombe at Lokes Park, and the slope on the pitch, that's my first memories of Wycombe. They were always a tough, well-drilled, well-organised side. And I used to enjoy the battles with them, and to get the chance to play for them was even better.
Was it quite tricky to adjust to the slope, or was it something you soon got used to?
There was a tactic to it, and I think the thing was, play to the bottom of the slope and then work your way up it. I think Wycombe had a obviously the edge. They played to it when we used to play them. It was always tough games, but honestly, when you're out on the pitch, you don't really notice it. I mean, Yeovil had it, Wycombe had it, Barnet had it. Even when I was at Brighton, the pitch sloped from one end to the other. So it was, there's a few of them around.
And when you were on loan, I guess you probably didn't even imagine, perhaps at that time, that you might be, returning someday as well. Yeah,
look, listen, it was a great experience. I think I was there for one season, and then again the next season, and the season, well, obviously the season we got promoted. But both times were quite late on in the season, and it was sort of crucial time for the club. And look, listen, they made me feel so welcome. It was an incredible experience. So I'm so glad it happened.
And did you feel when you were in it at the time, it felt like a really special, especially obviously the double winning season and the games that you played in, some of them were so special, that Sutton Cup game?
The Sutton game was great because I was obviously, Marty made a lot of changes the first game, and we came out stuck. I think we lost 3-2 at home. And then we went to Sutton and played on a sandpit of a pitch and a mud plane of a pitch. But we just showed our class. I think we were absolutely fantastic that day.
And we've spoken to some of the other players who featured on that day as well, and something that they say is in the dressing room at half time it was so special, and that you actually believed you were going to win. And obviously that's something that the manager created, but obviously something that's special amongst the team as well.
The team was always like that. They never went out to never doubted each other, never doubted anyone. Everyone trusted each other. There was a great atmosphere, a great team spirit, and there were some fantastic characters in that dressing room.
And what were your memories of the Runcorn game?
The final? Or the winning the league?
Well, both really.
Well, all I remember of the Runcorn game when we won the league was watching Steve Guppy run away from me all the time. Just give him the ball and he'd run the full length of the pitch. I mean, the goal he scored that night was just incredible, wasn't it?
No, absolutely. It just feels so. Like you say, it's strange to think that was 30 years ago, really.
Yeah, and going back to go to the final, it was I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect to play in that final. Even I know Simon Stapleton was having a fitness test in the morning, but even if he hadn't have passed, I thought he may have stuck. Maybe Maddie Crosley at left back and brought Anton in at centre back, or some other, even put Keith Ryan at left back and brought someone else in the middle of the park. Because I was on loan, I didn't expect to play.
And that's such a nice thing for you, obviously, to be needed, if you like, if that's the right word.
Oh, look, when I went to Wycombe, I didn't mess around. I worked hard, I trained hard, I wanted to be part of the team. Of course, I wanted to play. But you got to understand, these boys have worked hard all their careers to get to Wembley. And the funny thing was, and I said to John, I was talking to John the other day, that the fact that the year before I was playing for Barnet in a playoff game at Blackpool, and we won the first leg 1-0 at home, and we went to the second leg at Blackpool. And I remember talking to big David Howard, remember the big Barnet centre half?
Yes.
And I remember me and him were both in our 30s, and we looked at each other and said, look, this is probably the last chance we'll get to Wembley. And we ended up losing that game 2-0, so we didn't make it. And, funny enough, the next season, we ended up playing for Wycombe in the final in the FA Trophy.
It's really strange how, especially in football, it's really strange how things like that kind of happen and work out.
Well, just never give in. That's the thing. Always believe. And it's not a cliche. You got to trust yourself, back yourself, back your teammates. And it's a game where you've got to believe in yourself, because there's nowhere to hide when you're out on the pitch. Everybody has a job to do, and everyone's got a job on that pitch. I remember one game, I think we lost at home, Northwich, Victoria, and I gave the ball away, and they scored their goal. And I remember walking in the dressing room after the game, and Steve Wolford came up to me and said, "You better go and apologise to the gaffer, Martin." And I was like, "What?" He said, "No, do yourself a favour, go and apologise." Because he said, "Why did you, And that's fine. I went in and knocked on the door and I spoke to Martin, and he explained to me, and I said, "Look, Martin, I should have made a better decision, made a better choice in such a crucial point of the game." And, sometimes I think back and think maybe that's what got me the cup final place.
Oh, it's a really good story, because I think supporters don't get to hear or know things like that. And what was Martin like to play under as a manager? Because, again, brilliant to speak to so many players of that time, and obviously speak so highly of him as a man motivator as well.
Oh, look, you couldn't have anything but respect for Martin. He's been and done everything in the game, and he deserved respect. He commanded respect, and he got it from the players. Without any doubt, he had 100% respect from every one of those players in that dressing room.
And overall, how do you look back at your time at the club?
Oh, look, I wish I'd have been there longer. I wish I'd love to have signed for them while I was playing for Bognor. You know what I mean? When they're both non-league, it was always a club people want to play for, and because of their stature, they've always done well. They've always been a high-profile club, and they've got what they deserve now. Absolutely got what they deserve.
And I'm sure you keep an eye out for former teams that you play for, but especially, Wycombe getting to the Championship as well, something which you could have never imagined, I guess, at that time. But it must have felt at that time so big to have helped the club into the Football League and to be, professional side.
Oh, it's always lovely to be part of history, part of the club's history. And this is why we're sitting here talking now. And, a lot of players who've done more than I have don't even get this opportunity. They've just been part of a team. But I don't think people understand what we had in the team that time. And this is why everything's coming back now. The 30 years are celebrated, because it's massive. The club, the days leading up to the Runcorn home game to me was just absolute an experience. It was just incredible. The atmosphere, the fact that, we win tonight, we win the league. That's what people play for. You play 42 games to win a league.
And you must find as well that during your career, and obviously your time at Wycombe, and even now when you're coaching players as well, that football seems to, be so special. We've spoken to other ex-players as well, but in other kind of careers, you can't imagine someone getting in touch in 30 years' time. I always often use the example as an accountant, but to say, "Oh, that was a great spreadsheet you did 30 years ago." But it's really nice, isn't it, to have the experiences that you went through in that dressing room with those players.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the job. I've made so many friends. Football has allowed me to come to New Zealand. That's the end of it. It brought me here to play football, and I've stayed here, and it's a perk of what I did. it allowed me to see the world. I played football after I left Wycombe, and I went back to Barnet, and after I played for Barnet, I went to Hong Kong and played over there, and I lived there for 10 years. So it's allowed me to travel. Because the funny thing about Hong Kong, and this is another story, is that I was playing professionally in Hong Kong, and my contract had finished, and I was ready to go home, and I walked into a Hong Kong football club. Have you been there?
No.
I walked into a Hong Kong football club, and all of a sudden I heard a voice go, "Coops," and I looked over, and it was Martin Lambert. He played for Wycombe, and he was working out there. And he said, what are you going to do? What are you doing when your career's finished, when you've finished playing here? And I said, well, I don't know, I might just go back. He said, look, come and work for me, and I'm coaching at Hong Kong Football Club, and you can play there. It was part-time, but and I was 36 then, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I stayed and worked in Hong Kong for 10 years. But that's another connection that's, allowed, that would never have happened if it hadn't been for football.
And do you ever sort of look back and reflect and think, perhaps you could have done, but you think this isn't anything I could have planned, really? You couldn't have sat down and go, oh, I'll go to Barnet, I'll be really successful, then I'll go to Bognor Regis, then perhaps Wycombe, and then I might go to the Far East, maybe even New Zealand. When
I was playing for Bognor Regis, and I was there, like I say, for 150 years, it seemed like it. But it's not until afterwards you're right. How do you get into the game? And I was absolutely, I'm not big-headed. I was absolutely playing so well at Bognor for so many years. And I thought, what have I got to do? Like other players were getting chosen. And all of a sudden we played a game one night, and my mum was she was waiting for me after the game. And we went into the club rooms, and she said, who's that fella over there? And it was, I can't remember his name now. But she said, he keeps saying, when are you going to Brighton? When are you going to Brighton? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, Barry Lloyd's been after you. So I went over and had a chat with him, and he told me that exact story. And so I walked into Jack Pearce that night, straight after, and I said, Jack, what's going on? What's this about Brighton want me to go there? And he went, yeah, I didn't think you'd want to go. I went, you're joking, mate. He said, well, they're in the third division, they're struggling, and this. I said, doesn't matter. It's professional football. And I said that, and I was so mad because how dare somebody try and control somebody's life, make a decision without even consulting them? And I said to him that night, I said, Jack, I'll tell you what, and I've been at Bognor for 10 years or whatever. And I said to Jack, I'll tell you what, I'll play for you on Saturday because of the boys. I do it out of respect for the boys. But after that, I will never play for you again. Because I think what you've done is disgusting. And I walked out, and the next night I played for Brighton Reserves against Millwall.
Oh, fantastic! So it's nice in a way that obviously things do kind of work out in inverted commas, but I guess there's perhaps missed opportunities as well. It's strange, isn't it? Like you say that a manager
had I not spoken up, it might never have happened. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you've got to take the opportunities. You've got to again believe in your ability, because sometimes when I play for Bognor, and this is not being big-headed, and I think you can ask any player, how you come off a game, you think, I'm better than these guys. I'm playing, I'm better than this league. I'm playing so much better. What have you got to do? But you just keep at it. You just got to keep at it, and that's all I can say to anyone who wants to be a pro sports person. You've got to be dedicated, and that's what it takes.
And also, football seems so special in the fact that you're still in touch with ex teammates today, and that's what's really nice about the Ex Player Association as well. Yeah, no, I follow it. I mean, it comes up on my Facebook page and stuff, and it's great to see you have all these people on. And obviously, there's people there that I've never heard of and don't know. That's after my time at Wycombe, but again, in 30 years' time, these guys you're going to be talking about the FA Cup semi-finals and the promotion to Division 1 and promotion to the Championship. That's what the club has achieved is absolutely incredible. And tell us what we find you doing these days. Look, I coach part-time and I work for an insurance company. And you're enjoying life, hopefully, and you're well? Oh, look, the life here is fantastic. It's I don't know if you've ever been to New Zealand, but if you haven't, you should. It's a stunning, beautiful place. And, it's one of those places I wake up every morning and feel so lucky to be here. Plus the summers start now and go all the way through to April and May, and that helps. Yeah, a bit different to November in Wycombe. Yeah, well, you don't get a frost here. That's the thing. All I ever say to people is that in the summer you wear t-shirt and shorts, and in the winter you wear a jumper and shorts. That's it. And obviously, it's nice that you still, as I say, still look out for how Wycombe are doing, and even because I guess it's, in a way it kind of sort of obviously that you're so far away, but it's nice that you've still got that connection as well. Oh yeah, I've got it on my phone. But that's obviously you can set teams follow on your app on the phone.
And yeah, I've always got Wycombe, Barnet, and Portsmouth.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Oh no, that's great. But listen, you stay in touch. It's been really lovely. I mean, I want to say all the best to the boys and have a fantastic evening later in the month in the celebration.
No, that'd be really nice because obviously, unfortunately, you won't be able to be at the dinner, but it's so nice to be able to mark that occasion and for players to come, as you say, to come together again and just sort of reminisce.
Yeah, I mean, now I've been in touch, like you say, with yourselves and John. It'd be nice to come back next year and attend a game. It'd be lovely.
No, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, well, listen, good luck to the boys. Good luck to you all. And you just keep doing what you're doing because it's an absolute... It's a pleasure to watch what you guys are achieving.
Big thank you to Geoff and JDT and the Ex-Players Association even. As always, Geoff now living in New Zealand as well. So a big thank you to him for making the time out with the time difference. 13 hours, I think, with time difference between here and over in New Zealand. So a big thank you to Geoff for that. As always, if you want to keep up to date with all things Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, there is a brilliant group on Facebook called Wycombe Ex-Players Association, as you might have guessed. You can find out all the details and find out what they've got coming up. Check that out. Time for a chat with a Wycombe Wanderers Women's player. They're at home to Eastleigh on Sunday, and here is Colin talking to this week's player, Sarah Davern.
It's been a new challenge for me. I feel like everyone says that, but it's because I played for Ascot last year. I was captain for Ascot. That's a club I've been at for 7 years. And then in the first month, we played Ascot twice, I believe. So, I mean, you can call it luck.
or destiny or fate or something.
Or destiny or fate or one of them other big words.
It's strange, isn't it? What's the process been like for kind of switching? Have you found the two clubs quite similar to play for and be amongst?
No, extremely different. Different from a club set-up point of view. I moved to Wycombe because I'm getting a bit old as well. So the physio enticed me and the medical care there. They've got 2 training nights which are ideal for, playing Sunday games because they've got a Tuesday and a Thursday. And yeah, it for me felt like a good foundation for a women's team to build up and go further up in the table.
And I understand you knew some of the players from years ago.
Yeah, I did. So Bobby Lynch, who's now the captain, I played with her when I was probably about 12 years old. So familiar face, but hadn't played football with her for many, many years.
And fantastic as well that you were captain at Ascot, because I guess you can kind of bring that leadership into the Wycombe team as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a funny situation to be in because Ascot are definitely going for promotion this year, and we won the cup last year and came second and all sorts of really positive things that I left from there. So I think it almost raised some eyebrows when I did leave. But for me, even playing against Wycombe, you can tell from the management on the sidelines when you're playing the girls, it's a positive club, it's a good club, and it's a growing club. So yeah, coming in from being in a captain situation to joining another club, it was funny because you don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I want to also be able to, help the team. But the girls and the management have just encouraged me to, be assertive and bring any knowledge that I have to Wycombe, which is great.
Did you know much about the club previously? Because I know, obviously, you mentioned the Cup win, the League Cup win, and that was knocked Wycombe out in the semi-final, so you'd obviously come up against them before.
Yeah, I didn't exactly know much, to be honest. I know the men's team are strong, I like the colour of the kit, and I know they don't play on grass, so that means less cancelled games for me. But in terms of anything else, not really. I joined quite late in the pre-season process because I was injured. But when you know, and I don't make stupid decisions. It was a calculated decision, and it's one that I haven't regretted, and I definitely haven't looked back from.
It must be really nice to kind of arrive in an environment where you can settle in really well, and because I think last season was a real period of transition for the team, and Carl was bringing in new players, but now it seems like like a much more settled group.
Yeah, they're definitely more settled, and I think they're always going to attract now higher ability players even, which I always think is a fantastic thing. Although it even puts my head on the chopping block, I think it's great for players to have depth in their squad and competition for places. And then for it not to be an individual game, but say you're 2-0 up or something and the manager takes you off, it's more of a compliment to you, you know, that someone else can finish off your game and, you know, you can have a bit of a rest and then go again next week against whatever team it might be.
And quite exciting for you in your position as well, because you can really sort of make something happen, you know, maybe if the team are behind or need extra goals.
Yeah, I've got bright boots because I'm a winger. so I do my bit, I do my best. I'm not winning the races, I don't think, at the moment, but a little bit of trickery and David Beckham balls in usually does the trick.
And what have you noticed are the main sort of strengths of the team, would you say?
I'd say in terms of learning, from transitioning from a Tuesday and a Thursday night into things that Carl speaks about, prepare us for the weekend, it's soaked up so quickly and without ego or, you know, defensiveness. I think it's very rare, especially in the women's game, that a male coach or any sort of coaching staff can maybe like point out something that hasn't went well and try and help you without you taking it the wrong way. And this group of girls, they don't take it the wrong way at all. They literally just want to know what they can do better, and then they implement it. And I think that's a real strength, because you never know what Wycombe you're going to come up against. I think Wycombe this year were very underestimated at the start of the season, which was actually one of the reasons I wanted to join as well, because I come from a very like high pressure position to be in, where I can't remember the last game I've lost to football, to join in Wycombe, and it was quite nice to walk on a pitch and feel underestimated and then keep doing these shock like surprises or have these shock games to the other team. But for me, I wasn't shocked at all, because I've trained with them and I know how much work they put in off season. So it's a totally different Wycombe, and it's just quite nice to be the underdog and just keep, you know, making these shocks and these surprises in the league.
And you mentioned your age, perhaps we should say experience, but is it quite nice that like younger members of the first team, or indeed the under-23s or under-18s, you know, can come to you for sort of perhaps ask questions or tips, or, you know, something that you've already been through?
Oh yeah, and I mean, for me that's funny, because I look at some of the girls at Wycombe and I think they're just fantastic. So someone did ask me at half-time a question and I almost was taken back. I was like, you know what to do, like, it's fine. Here's what I would do, but I play quite erratic. So I would do this, this and this. But yeah, it is nice that they come for advice, and also just I think in terms of confidence, because that's one thing when you're younger, like, you know, if you make a mistake, you hold on to it, and that can be quite bad for your second half. I think that's really nice that I can be in there and be someone that people look up to. And then if I say it's okay, they sort of trust me that it is.
And obviously you're saying you've not played for a bit, but have you noticed, you know, a real development in your own game as well?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of rehab, and it's something that I didn't do when I was younger, and actually it's something that I'm pushing on younger players to take a bit more seriously, especially with the injuries in the women's game at the moment. Like, your strength and conditioning are so important, and having the time out injured to be able to do that. When I came back, I was shocked at how good I felt just from playing. So I've had a real improvement in terms of, you know, stamina, agility, balance, all them sort of things, from having some really good advice around me.
And do you sort of set yourself personal and indeed team goals for the season, the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, always. My personal goal is just to definitely still enjoy football and to put up the best performance that I can do. And actually, luckily, everyone thinks my vest is broken, because I keep getting the winning stats on, you know, like them vests you wear when you play. So it's funny, because someone wanted to swap with me to see if my vest was faulty or theirs was faulty. I still won. But yeah, so my personal goal is to just enjoy football and play the best that I can play every single game. I take it game by game personally. And then as a group goal, I think for Wycombe this year is probably top 3 in the table. And so far they've started off with a much better scorecard to go from. And even in terms of the FA Cup, like we knocked Ascot out, which was insane.
It does feel like a really good time to be at the club, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is a really good time to be at the club. I always like clubs and people and things that have gone through hard times, because it does bring you out with resilience, and I think it shows you good balance. And I don't think Wycombe now are in a position that if something does go wrong, they haven't got the ability to bounce back. So I think that's also something that if you have come from hard times, you never lose that. You never lose that determination. Like, if we go 1-0 down in a game, that's not the end of the game. Like, that's the beginning of it. So for me, I think Wycombe and being there at the moment is probably the best time to be there.
And it's always nice to ask, but have you noticed yourself a real increase in interest in women's football generally, but obviously Wycombe as well?
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. I think obviously Euros was the catalyst for that. But the women's football, I work in schools as well. There's girls' football popping up everywhere, and there's some really, really good players. And the nice thing is that they have got a lot more support around them. And the interest in it, I think I looked at the stats, it is now the leading sport for girls and teenagers in the country. So that's really good in terms of a couple of years, even for our country, of maybe winning the World Cup or something in a couple of years.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Colin.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Bill Turnbull, a broadcasting legend whose tireless campaigning for prostate cancer awareness left a lasting legacy for men's health in the UK. Bill's message was clear.
I really want you and your loved ones to take this simple online risk check now.
Let's honour Bill's legacy together. Let's get men across the UK to check their risk. Let's broadcast it like Bill. Check your risk. Share the risk checker. Save lives.
Last part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers show. We're here from Wycombe Wanderers manager Matt Bloomfield very shortly. Obviously an exciting week for him. He's extended his contract as manager of Wycombe Wanderers. The chairman, Rob Couhig, flew back to the United States on Wednesday morning. Tuesday evening, though, as you may have seen the video on social media after the game, Rob asked Matt if he would like to extend his contract, which, as you would imagine, Matt said yes. We'll hear his thoughts on that very soon. It was really nice to actually be in the room when that happened. Matt and his team put a lot of hard work into the club, and it was very nice to see him being rewarded with that extension to his contract. Someone else this week who has signed a new long-term contract to extend his time at Adams Park is Josh Gowan. The 30-year-old voted the Supporters Player of the Year in each of the past two seasons. He's racked up close to 200 appearances for the Chairboys over two spells as well, beginning his professional career with the club in 2011. Matt Bloomfield said this is his club and he's here to stay. If you want to hear an interview with Josh, then check out this week's pre-match reels on Wanderers TV. We can hear Josh talking about his season so far, but also that extension to his contract as well. But well done to both Josh and the gaffer for getting his extension, or their extensions, I should say, to their contracts. Talking of Matt Bloomfield, here he is talking to Phil at this week's press session.
Gaffer, first and foremost, congratulations. Great news regarding your contract this week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm honoured and privileged to have the opportunity to be manager here. You know how I feel about my job and my history here. So to be given the opportunity to extend that was an extremely easy decision to take, and I'm really grateful to Rob to give me this chance.
It was nice to be there to capture the moment. Obviously, Rob's very shy when it comes to cameras. But,
yeah.
Was it a genuine surprise?
Yeah, I kind of spoken to him a little bit earlier in the day, and he mentioned that there may be an opportunity to do so, and I was obviously really pleased that he followed that up on the evening. So, yeah, he's a real good man of great integrity, and we've been working really closely for the last 8 months or so since we've been back, and our relationship's really strong. So, the trust that he's shown in me and my staff to be able to lead this football club is extremely comforting. To be able to carry that forward, I'm really, really pleased.
Across the EFL, we've seen how brittle the management position is at a football club. What does it mean to get this backing at this stage of your career at Wycombe?
Yeah, it's huge, because I think we've seen, with the gaffer before, the continuity and the legacy that he was able to build with having that time, to build your squad and to build your way of playing and to evolve and to keep moving the club forward. So to have that security and have that kind of just for the players, I think, as well, and for the supporters and for myself to have the backing of the football club is huge, because there's so much volatility in the job, and there's so much demand for success right now that you have to try and you obviously appease that, and we're chasing results. We want to be successful, but we're also trying to build our identity. So to have both camps happy in terms of what you're trying to do is the balance you're trying to strike. So I'm really, really pleased, and we feel settled here. We feel really strongly and passionately about the football club and what we're trying to do. The players, I think that, I have to say a massive thank you to the boys as well, because since we've been back, the application, the effort they've been putting in every single moment of the day has been great. So for me, it's just a huge thank you firstly to Rob and the lads, but the supporters as well, because after Gaz leaving, it was tough, but we've been building slowly and securely over the summer, and we're hopeful that we can keep moving forward.
It's been a very busy period in the league. FA Cup, although it's a long journey, but distraction is probably not the right word, but a different competition. Does it change the focus?
Maybe slightly, because it's exciting, isn't it? The FA Cup. You just have to mention it, and everyone smiles. It's obviously the most incredible competition, and I was really fortunate to have a couple of nice memories from as a player. I'd really like to create some more memories for the supporters moving forward. A really successful league season builds memories, but so do cup runs. So first and foremost, we need the boys to recover well from the other night, and we need to make sure we're prepared and ready to go on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a real tough game against Bradford, who we've had quite a lot of change here over the last few months, and they're in their own little sort of change this moment as well. So yeah, it's exciting. We're looking forward to going up there and trying to play as well as we can. Bradford
aren't in our division. We talked about the volatility of football management. They're in limbo at the moment in terms of a permanent manager, and have even just changed their interim manager as well, which I guess provides a lot of different changes and challenges to prepare. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen it already this year when we went to Charlton, just changed their manager. Fleetwood just changed their manager, and we're seeing it again on Saturday. We've just changed the interim manager. It's going to create the same questions in our minds about how much can we prepare from the games that have been and gone, and how much is that going to change. But we've certainly studied them the best we possibly can. We know about their individuals within the shape that they've been playing, so we'll prepare for that, and if there's something different that comes, then it comes, and we have to be ready to adapt. That's all part of the game. So my belief as well is about us being the best we can possibly be on the day. It's certainly a sign of the times. I think the volatility of the job and the game in general is at an all-time high, but we can only concentrate on ourselves and be the best we can be, and hope that if we do that, we can keep building towards a bright future. Football's cyclical. We haven't won a FA Cup first round tie. I think it goes back to 2017. So you could say the football gods may look at us thinking we're due a cup run. Yeah, I didn't know that, so I hadn't studied our form in the competition. It's it is an exciting time. If you can get a cup run, it's great. It's memories that supporters will always remember. It's memories that players will always remember if you go on a good cup run. We've obviously been a few years since we've won in the first round, so we know we're in for a tough afternoon going to Bradford. A real historic club, big ground, and they've got a good competitive squad there. But we have to be confident in what we're doing and look forward to performing. If we can, then we believe we can win. And finally, the most British of topics of conversation, the weather. we talk on the Thursday, it's been blowing a gale, it's been chucking it down with rain. The other challenges of training, I guess, and management. Yeah, absolutely. So we had some last minute adjustments today. We were unable to get out on the training ground, so we went and found a 3G surface to go and train on. Some of the boys had to recover, so we'll be doing the same tomorrow, possibly training down at the stadium, I think, which gives us an incredible surface to train on before we make the journey north. So we're going to train early, get on the road. The weather gives another challenge, but it's all part of the fun. Well, see you in Bradford. See you out there. Top man. Cheers, mate.
Phil talking to Wycombe Wanderers manager Matt Bloomfield at this week's press session. You can hear the full interview on this week's pre-match drills, which also features Phil recreating Jackanory in an FA Cup style. Make sure you check that out. A couple of things, other things to mention, that being that this week's coverage of the game is audio only because of FA Cup rules. So no visuals on Wanderers TV. You can, of course, listen to it on Wanderers TV and, of course, here on Wycombe Sound with coverage starting from 2 o'clock this afternoon, not this afternoon, unless you're listening to this on Saturday when it is 2 o'clock. No, from 2 o'clock on Saturday. Luke Cashman will be with you from 2 with Build Up with Phil. So you check out the Wycombe Wanderers website for details on that. The other thing to mention is replacement replica shirts are now in the store as well, which have been, if you have previously purchased faulty shirts, then you can start getting them from the shop when it is open. If fans that have ordered them online and done the replacements online as well, you will be sent them out as well. You can find out all the details from the Wycombe Wanderers website as well, www.fc.com. And it is open, I should say the shop is open between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. during the week and on home match days as well. And as I said, any shirts which have been returned to the club's fulfilment partner, Mission Dispatch even, will have their replacement shipped to them in the coming days. Again, all the details for that on the Wycombe Wanderers website. Now, as you may have heard, on whenever the 31st was, Tuesday, it was Wycombe Sound's 7th birthday. Hurrah! Excitement. However, coming up is Wycombe Sound's 10th anniversary since we started broadcasting back in 2013. 87.9 FM is where we were originally. Then 7 years ago, we jumped to 106.6 FM after 3 successful pilots. We were very excited to announce on Tuesday that we will be celebrating our 10th celebrations at Adams Park. The club have dedicated the game to Wycombe Sound. We are very, very grateful for all of their support over the last 10 years. That goes for the club, the trust, the Ex-Players Association, Wycombe Wanderers Women and the foundation. Every part of the club has supported us over the last 10 years. So we are thrilled to be able to celebrate 10 years of Wycombe Sound. I don't know how it is 10 years, but it is 10 years on the 9th of December. We'll have more details about it approaching the 9th of December and how you can get involved with the celebrations of 10 years. And a big thank you to all the Chairboys fans who have supported us in that time as well. Fun fact for you. We love a stat on this show and Wycombe Wanderers social media. Matt Ingram was the first member of the Chairboys team, obviously back then, to join Phil and myself on pole position drive time, as it was then, back in 2013. The first official member of the club from the director's side was a man called Matt Cecil. Whatever happened to him, hey? So yeah, more details on our 10th celebrations at Adams Park on the 9th of December as we get close to it. That is it for this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show. A big thank you, as always, to JDT, the Ex-Players Association, and also to Wycombe Wanderers Women as well for their support. A big thank you to Geoff Cooper and to Sarah Davern for their interviews with Colin. He will be back next week, Mr. Besley. Probably. I said that last week. He might be. You never know. You got me again with bits of Colin. Have a great rest of your week. If you're heading on Saturday to Bradford in the first round of the FA Cup, then be safe, enjoy it, and come on, you Blues!